Why narcissists hate boundaries. Narcissists are masters at building people up. They're highly skilled at tricking us into believing they are desirable, someone we always want to be around, and someone we don't want to be without. But they're also highly skilled at breaking us down and gaining certain levels of power and control over us. Today I'm going to discuss why narcissists hate boundaries and why it's so critical to make sure you can set some boundaries to help you gain back and maintain your sanity. Thanks so much for being here, and if you like the content on this channel, please subscribe, like, comment, and share it with others. I use the Superman analogy in a lot of my videos because most people seem to be able to relate to that whole kryptonite thing. And if you're currently in a relationship with a narcissist and you need some ammunition to help you deflect some of the abuse you're taking, setting boundaries is a great form of kryptonite to use. And sure, most of us have set healthy boundaries throughout the years, and we have always felt good about them. But when you run into a narcissist, you're going to forget some of those boundaries because they are masters at removing them. Think back to when you first met the narcissist. They said and did things that made you feel good. They made you feel special. And they made you feel like it was safe to be around them. So what did you do? You lowered your guard, and your boundaries began to disappear because this person was just so charming and believable. They made you feel safe. And then before you knew it, they'd removed every boundary you had ever set for yourself. This is just what narcissists do, guys. They absolutely hate any kind of boundaries. And from the day they first meet you, they already have a plan to make sure any boundaries you have will be tossed to the curb. They have a keen sense of what you'll put up with and what you won't put up with. So they target your boundaries one at a time and slowly take them away from you. And the scary part is, you don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Let's use your personal time as an example. Before you met the narcissist, you enjoyed doing things alone sometimes. You liked your personal space. I mean, most of us like at least a little bit of me time, right? It's actually really healthy to spend some time alone because it helps you keep a sense of self-identity and self-respect. If you're with someone right now and they don't appreciate the fact that you enjoy some alone time, chances are they're trying to close the gap on how much time you are spending alone. And it might be just some subtle things they do or say. They might be acting sad and looking for sympathy from you, so you will go and spend more time with them and less time on yourself. Or they might be gaslighting you, trying to convince you that you don't need your friends anymore because you have them to fulfill all your needs. This is a huge flashing red sign, guys. This sign should be screaming to you that this person isn't capable of being alone. We just witnessed this with a close friend. She was dating a guy that seemed really cool. He was pretty quiet when we'd see him, but he was always polite and friendly. So after a couple months, we would see our friend less and less. She wasn't coming around nearly as much as she used to. We all thought that seemed like a positive thing because she seemed pretty happy with him at the time. Then one day, she called to see what we were up to. She ended up coming over to hang out with us for the evening. When we asked how her new boyfriend was doing, she said, "Well, he's not here, which is a kind of a good thing right now. I just needed to get away for a little while. I felt like spending some time with my friends and not with him. I just need a little space." She said she felt like he was slowly trying to pull her away from us and wanting her to spend all her available time with him and only him. And thank God she's a strong person and has strong boundaries in place. It took her a few weeks to get the full grasp of what was going on with this guy. And the reason I'm telling this story is she held on to her values. And when she noticed that boundary of having some alone time start to shrink, it set off a red flag for her. So she came right out and told him how she was feeling about it. And guess what happened next? That relationship ended shortly after that, because he wasn't willing to accept that boundary. And it's like I said earlier, boundaries are like kryptonite to them. They know that any boundaries that are in their way are going to destroy them every time. And please don't get me wrong here, guys. I'm not saying this guy is a full-on narcissist, because it's just way too early to tell. The reason that I wanted to tell this story is for you to think about just this one example. And it may not seem significant on the surface, but when you start to go a little deeper, you might wonder what was coming next with them, had she allowed him to remove that boundary. Well, I can tell you this, at least from my own experiences, what would have happened next. Once that boundary was removed, he would start on her next boundary, and then the next, and the next, until he would have her under his complete control. We were so relieved to see her stand her ground and show her strength. And here's the most important thing to remember here. Her strength comes from past relationships where the same thing happened. It was like a cycle. She'd fall into all the same traps and be stuck for long periods of time. But now, she's learned how to recognize all the signs and actively pays close attention to the new people she meets, and she sticks to her boundaries. I hope that wherever you are in your relationship today, you can go back in your mind and remember who you used to be before you were sucked into the mess you might be in today. Go find your strength and reset those boundaries for yourself, because those boundaries are your best source of protection against the narcissist. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep watching for those signs. Stay alert, be vigilant, be strong, be brave, and go live your best life today.